Guys, this is the video for the final summative hurdle, the last stuff you've got to do for your changes to education project. So a brief overview, the website is your final summative assessment as a whole. This is how you're essentially presenting information. Instead of getting up and doing a physical presentation, you're doing an online presentation which includes your videos and your work and your essays and all of these communicative pieces. So 50 points will be dedicated to the design and presentation of information on all pages. You need descriptions, videos, extra links, articles, videos of your work. I've said videos twice there. So whenever you do a task, this is the task I've done, here's why I did it, here's why it was beneficial, and here's the work. On every single page, please. Nice and creative as well. 50 points will be for the final draft of your essay. Task 3, is your essay. I'll give you feedback, and then 50 points will be for your final draft, so you have time to fix it and improve it and make it perfect. 50 points will be awarded for your If E-Learning Continues recommendations. This is the final task, the final part of the summative project. You must present information which answers the essential questions in the form of all formative tasks, all graded. The accumulation of all tasks lead to the website, specifically designed to inform teachers, students and parents about the changes in education we are now facing, and it is due on the 13th of June. The website must include your homepage detailing who you are, the project you've undertaken, and what the website contains. Include articles, links explaining why we're working online. You must also include a page with information others can use should they want to make a website of their own. It needs the video from task 1 and the description. You may also wish to include other instructional articles or videos. You also need to include a page where you describe your surveys or give examples of your survey questions. And then a description explaining who you asked, what you asked them, the questions, and why you asked them. So it needs obviously your task description. It also needs to contain your questions, responses, and the data in form of charts, graphs, and the paragraph analysis. Everything needs to be interpreted and explained by you. You need to include a page which contains your essay. It should answer one of the prompts. Again, give a description. You need to include a page which contains your 2 helpful hints posters which you and your partner made together. And finally, your website must include the final page titled If E-Learning Continues. On this page you need to write an open letter to the school giving your recommendations to how teaching and learning need to be if we continue next year. You should include rules for both teachers and students, timetables, workloads, how materials should be presented, anything else you think is important, and I'll detail these in a minute. Make sure you cite all of your own primary data and secondary resources that you use, and give personal experiences. So part 1, 50 points, presentation and information. I've got a couple of people's pages here. So one student, I think it's Zaina, this is her homepage, or part of her homepage. Obviously I couldn't fit everything in. This is Ali Yakut's how to easily create a website page. He's got his description, a video, and he's got some other stuff down the bottom which I couldn't fit in. And this is Mustafa's page for surveys and data. I can't get it. It's so much information. Obviously a lot of it's in drop downs, and if you continue, you've got the analysis of stuff down there. But there are other videos where I show you examples of these. So these are just 3 pages of all of them. Make sure everything looks good, make sure it's got all of the necessary information. This is where 50 points of the final 150. Part 2, the essay final draft. Again, this is where 50 points of your final 150. From task 3, I've given you your feedback. I've given you the necessary feedback to make changes. You have to make it perfect. Even if you got an A, there's still improvements that can be made. It's basically a second chance and the perfect opportunity to improve your writing. And then on the page, make sure you got the prompt and the task description, and obviously the essay on your site. You know, Mustafa chose to have extra videos as well and a little picture there. Then finally, part 3, 50 points for a new page titled If Learning and Teaching Online Continues. So you need to create a new page titled If E-Learning Continues. And in this page, you need to write recommendations to the school, giving your recommendations to how teaching and learning online needs to be, as if we continue this into the next year. So I want you to imagine that summer break happens, and before we come back, the school tell us, sorry, we can't come back yet. We're still going to be going online for another 6 months or a whole school year. What do you think the school need to do to improve it? You need to give your recommendations. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. Any decent websites, which I think are really informative and have considered everything and have analysed stuff deeply, I'm actually going to send these to the school to tell them, have you considered any possible changes? Here's what my students have thought. So really, really consider what you think needs to change. It can be your opinion. It's a formal letter, but it's not an essay. It doesn't have to be like a full essay structure. Obviously, you need to be writing in paragraphs, obviously, but it doesn't need to be the normal structure we use. It's only formal because you're writing to the school and you have to imagine that they're going to see it, but it's not like to an employer or something like that. And you're going to be giving these recommendations. Include rules for both teachers and students, timetables, workloads, and how material should be presented, whatever else you feel is important. You need to cite all of your own primary data and any secondary sources you get, plus I'd love some personal experiences. So format, write to the school. Be sure to include an introduction which describes the project, give your advice for next year based on things you've learned, give evidence, include pictures if you want, cite your primary and secondary sources, and end by thanking the school for reading your work, but also encourage them one last time, so something along the lines of, thank you very much for taking the time to read this. I implore you or I encourage you to consider making the changes I have outlined in this letter. That'd be fine. In the beginning, dear AIS, due to the global pandemic caused by COVID-19, the school was forced to close without much real warning. As a result, AIS switched to an online teaching and learning model. In English, we had the opportunity as part of our final project to really consider the effects of such a model. And upon investigation, I have some recommendations for next year to really improve this online model. That'd be fine as an introduction. Then you can get into the meat of it. Well, let's say I want to talk about rules for both teachers and students, right? Now, you might have done your surveys and found that teachers have reported that students weren't doing everything necessary. Your surveys might also say, and your own personal experiences might say, that teachers give too much work. Therefore, you might decide to have some rules based on this. So you might say, as a rule, students should only be doing 4 hours work per day for 4 lessons or something like that. You might say that teachers must be available online between these hours. You might say students or parents need to attend a weekly meeting with teachers. You might have these rules based on the evidence, include to cite stuff. You did some surveys and students said this, you did some surveys and teachers said that, you did an essay and you found this. Being sure, include your evidence, but you can include it in a way that's like, as part of the project, I surveyed people. You're allowed to use personal pronouns here. I surveyed people and I found this. And I did this essay, and from the essay, I learned this. You're allowed to use personal pronouns. It's a letter. It's not an essay. Also, be sure to include timetables. This is the current timetable that we have. Are you happy with it? Were other teachers and students? If not, perhaps it needs changing. This could include a schedule of lessons, work, or communication. So it might be that you have a timetable or a schedule for emailing. Students can only email between the hours of 7 and 5 or something like that. You might have a timetable for how lessons are structured or how work can be structured. It's entirely up to you. You're making what you honestly believe is a recommendation for the school, what you think will honestly improve the school. So make a new one or new ones, include evidence from the work that you've done or experiences. You can talk about workloads. Obviously, I give you a fair bit of work. Maybe you're not happy with that. Maybe you love some teachers for giving you just 15 minutes a day, and maybe teachers like me you can't stand at the moment because I give you proper work. what recommendations can we make there? Is there a compromise that we can come to? Students might argue they do too much. Teachers might say they're still doing too little. What's a compromise? What's the appropriate amount of work? What recommendations can you make? Are there students who, on the whole, agree with this? Do teachers disagree? What would be a fair in the middle? Again, give your own experiences. Talk about the surveys and the essay and everything else that you've done and how you felt during this time. How material should be presented. Do you prefer live lessons, video materials, book work with a Q&A session after? What do you think is the best way to present the lesson or the videos or the instruction or the materials during this time? What should be the norm next year? Do you think the school should have a rule? All teachers must make a YouTube channel where they make videos that students can watch anytime they want. Should these videos be a shorter or longer? Do you prefer live lessons? Should teachers have a full live classroom every day to help also promote social emotional learning? Whatever you think, give your honest recommendation and include evidence and experiences. And that's it. So that's on the final page of your website. When all this is done on the 13th of June, I will be checking, hang on, let me go back. I will be checking these following pages. Everything must be done. You see how the point system works now. And remember, I do want to use these websites as real evidence and research that I can send to the school based on e-learning and what would happen if we go into next year. So really, really consider that. I would like to use these websites for my own personal gain. Good luck, guys.